This is subtracting integers. To subtract an integer, you're going to follow the rule, add the opposite. To see why we use this rule, let's look at an example. So here we have 3 minus 4. On a number line, we're starting at 3, and we're taking away or subtracting 4. So we're moving 4 to the left. We're going backwards on our number line, and we end at -1. -1 is our answer. Now, if I were to do the problem 3 plus -4, I'm again starting at 3, but this time I'm adding a -4. So I have to go 4 in the negative direction to the left. And I also end at -1. Two different problems that give me the same answer. One is subtraction, one is addition. I already know my addition rules, so it makes sense, since I can do addition, that instead of subtracting, I'm going to start at the same point, but I'm going to add the opposite number. I'm going to get the same answer. So it's this second number that becomes the opposite of what it was. So add the opposite. These guys are opposites. Let's try this out with a few problems. So this first problem is 3 minus 12. Well, I'm not going to do any subtracting at all. This second number is going to change to its opposite. I'm actually going to do 3 plus -12. I want to do the opposite. Now, I already know my addition rules here. If I have more negatives, which I do in this case, I have 12 negatives and 3 positives, my answer will be negative. And since they're different signs, I'm going to subtract them. 12 minus 3 gives me 9, so -9. Let's try the same thing with this problem. Here's this second number. I'm going to start at the same point, but I'm going to add the opposite, so that's going to be 13. So in this case, I've got 13 positives and 8 negatives. That means I have more positives, so I'll have a positive answer. And 13 minus 8 gives me 5. One more. I've got 5. I'm going to start at the same point, but this second number is going to become its opposite. So it's going to be plus, and the opposite of -4, 4. And that one turned into an easy problem. I'm going to do the same thing if I have more than one number I'm being asked to subtract. I'm going to break it down and do one problem at a time. So when I see this problem, I'm initially going to do this part. So I've got -7 minus -12. So that's going to be -7, and I'm going to add, I'm going to do the opposite here of -12, which is 12. So -7 plus 12 gives me 5. Now, I wasn't done with the problem. They still wanted me to subtract 14, so I have to subtract 14. So I have another problem to do, but I'm going to change it to addition. This guy is going to become its opposite, so it's going to be 5. I'm going to add the opposite here, -14. So in this case, 14 negatives, 5 positives. I've got more negatives. 14 minus 5 is 9. Okay, so in this last example, they want to know which continent has the greater range of elevations. So the range here is when you're taking your highest number minus your lowest. So we want to figure out which continent has the greater range. So for North America, I would be doing 6,198, their highest elevation, minus their lowest, -86. This would become 6,198 plus, my opposite here, is +86. For a grand total of 6,284 meters difference in North America between the high and the lowest point. Now we're going to do the same thing for Africa. Africa's high point is 5,895, not quite as high, but their low is lower. So we're going to subtract negative 155. When I go to write this as an addition problem, the second number is going to become its opposite. It's add the opposite. So this becomes 155 for a grand total of 6,050 meters. So to answer the question, which continent has the greater range of elevations? It's going to be North America.